Hi, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and I'm the host of No BS Job Search Advice Radio. This is episode 811, and because it's Friday, it's the day I do stupid interview mistakes. And this one is a doozy because it's the sort of thing people do on final interviews. I hope you find this helpful. Hope you give the show 5 stars on iTunes or Stitcher. And if you're at the point where you're close to an offer, email me, because I'll help you get through the final hump. If you're dealing with salary negotiation, questions, or what have you, email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. In the subject line, put the word coaching. In the body, tell me what it's about, and we'll schedule a time to speak. Obviously, I charge for this, and I look forward to helping you. Now let's get going. I'm back today with what I call stupid final interview mistakes. And to be clear, these are the kind of mistakes that are a little bit different than the ones I've pointed out previously. Because these are the ones that have just killed it off at that moment where the opportunity could be yours. Where you're competing, and this is one I'll come to that in a second, where you're competing on a final interview and you just do something dumb. So let me just point out some of the things that people can do that will shoot themselves in the foot and send their candidacy down the drain. They're in no particular order. So first of all, you arrive late. So that's number one. Number two is you dress badly or inappropriately for the interview. I'm not going to tell you how to dress because you may be watching this at a time where styles are different. I'll just simply say dressing inappropriately for this audience. Dressing in a way, and I'll use an example from a hedge fund I used to work with. They used to hate people who wore ties. So if you suddenly wear a tie to an interview, they get turned off because they used to think of ties as being something to catch your food if you were a sloppy eater. Third, and this is where we start getting more serious, you start feeling arrogant. And you feel arrogant because you think the job is yours. So it starts to leak out. You get a little too cocky. You forget that you might be competing with someone and act like the job is yours. And you are competing. You're competing against either another person or people, or you're competing at, let's go back and see if there's someone else. So never treat this as though it's a formality. I remember one time, when I was a relatively junior person, one of my colleagues had someone on interviews with a firm in Westchester, New York. Person was there from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. He's there talking to, his final interviews with the head of the function he's going to be working for. And what happens is, he asks about, the head of the function asks, why are you looking? And he says, I can't believe, a racist moment. He says, I work with a bunch of slobs and Indians. How do you expect someone to respond to this? Like, he's your best friend. Yeah, I understand what you mean. No. And suffice it to say, he didn't get the job, thank goodness. So recognize that you can shoot yourself in the foot by thinking that the job is yours and your arrogance comes out. Another thing that people do is their answers to questions are incongruent with things they've said previously. As a result, people at the firm start to compare notes and they go, he said this, what? He's now saying this? Something doesn't add up, and it makes them hesitate. And when firms hesitate, they reject because they know they can't trust you. Another thing people do is they ask stupid questions at the interview. Like, how many weeks of vacation do I get? Or, like immature stuff that's ridiculous. Number four is, another thing that people do is they arrive unprepared, minimally. At a minimum, you look at the LinkedIn profile of the person you're going to be meeting with to get an idea of their background. See what they look like, if there's a photo there. Do a Google search to see if there's any new news about the organization, to see if this is a subject that you want to ask questions about. So you arrive unprepared. Next thing is you start making new demands. And this is, again, part of that arrogance thing that people sometimes do. New demands cause firms to scratch their head and wonder, what's with this person? I don't get it. We've been talking about this all along, and now they come in for less? No, I'm sorry, they come in asking for $20,000 more? No explanation. They just up the price and delete. I mentioned this one earlier, and it's the notion of being too casual and forgetting that you're still competing. I mentioned this in another video, and it's the notion, well, it came from a story where I represented someone for a position. The firm flew him out. He's talking with his future boss. She asks him a question, and everything had been going so well for so long in this hard-to-find skill. One of the few people in the world who had this background. And his response was to say, I'll get to that when I come on board. I'll explain to you that. And she thought this is ridiculous and arrogant and rejected him, and rightly so. So recognize that you're always competing. You're always doing things to either sell yourself into the role or cause yourself to be rejected. Don't get lazy. Don't get arrogant. Don't become casual. And never, ever think the job is in the bag. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few ways to connect with me. First of all, if you're interested in one-to-one coaching from me, email me at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. In the subject line, put the word coaching. This way I know what it's about. I can get back in touch with you. We'll figure out a time to speak for an introductory conversation so that I learn what your needs are and you can figure out if I'm the right person to help you. Generally, I work with people at a manager level and above, but I do make exceptions from time to time. If you're not at that level and want advice from me, the best way is through JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. There I have curated information that I've developed and others have as well that you can watch, listen to, or read that's going to help you find work more quickly. Again, you can ask me questions through the site. I'd be very happy to answer your questions. I look forward to helping you in either of those two ways. And if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me at linkedin.com/IN/TheBigGameHunter. Mention that you listen to the show because I love hearing from fans, from listeners who have been helped by the show. And like me on Facebook. The page is facebook.com/NoBSCoachingAdvice.com, or look for Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter there. Give me 5 stars, a great review. It helps other people discover the show. And I'll be back tomorrow with more. In the meantime, have a great day. Take care.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
It's time for Optimum's Red Hot Sale. Get 200 meg internet, TV with over 260 channels, and unlimited home phone, all for $69.99 a month for 1 year guaranteed. And for a limited time, HBO and Showtime are included for 1 year. Switch today. Click for details and special web